I'm Kelly Jones, author of Unusual Chickens for the Exceptional Poultry Farmer, illustrated by Katie Kath.
What gave you the idea of unusual chickens? Why not cows or sheep?
I got my first chickens a few years ago, and I was fascinated in everything they did. What they looked like, what they sounded like, what kinds of superpowers they might choose if they could pick. And I realized that chickens were not interested in saving the world. Chickens were interested in running faster than all the other chickens. Chickens were interested in hiding from something that might think they were a tasty treat. And so I started to come up with a group of chickens with superpowers, and that turned into a story.
Did you live on a farm at any point in your life? Do you have any good farm life stories?
I've never lived on a farm myself. I grew up in a small town, and my best friend growing up had chickens. Another friend had goats, but it wasn't quite the same as Sophie's farm, so I had to get help with that.
Sophie often feels like an outsider because of her race. What made you decide to add this? Have you ever felt like an outsider?
I didn't face the same kinds of challenges that Sophie faces. I did feel like an outsider sometimes. I did feel lonely. I felt like I was a little bit at the edge of a group watching everybody else, and that was helpful as a writer. But I had to get some help to understand the kinds of things that people assumed about Sophie that were different than the things that I experienced growing up.
Have you ever been the new kid in town? Did that inspire you when writing this book?
I've never been the new kid in town either. I grew up in the same place and moved away only for college. So I I had to use my imagination and think what that would feel like to be the new kid for the first time and what Sophie would worry about.
What advice would you give to our young writers as they learn to improve their skills?
I always recommend that writers use their five senses when they're working on a story to bring the reader in and have them experience the same things that you are trying to show in the story. So, what does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it smell like? If there's a chicken with superpowers that you're holding, what does it feel like to hold that chicken in your arms? What if that chicken is eating a tasty treat or a slug or something that's tasty to a chicken? What does it taste like? Can you imagine that? Can you make the reader feel it too? Those are all powerful things that will bring the reader into your story and that you can use, especially when things are imaginary, if you can imagine them strongly enough and describe them for your reader. So, using those showing specific words.
One last question. If you were a chicken, what would you sound like?
That's what a chicken sounds like.